Hey guys, this is Derek Duplessis, host of Purpose Rockstar. It's a podcast where we interview people who found purpose in their career in all kinds of fields. Today's interview is with David France, a good friend of mine. He is the top guy, the executive director for Revolution of Hope and the Roxbury Youth Orchestra. He went to the New England Conservatory and he learned about El Sistema, and it was just, love at first sight. He went over to Venezuela, saw the awesome work that was going on, teaching young children classical music. And he said that he could bring this to the inner city in Boston, in Roxbury. And it's just been incredible just to think about his journey, his story from a very small island in the Caribbean to, really making sacrifices to make his dream come true. So this guy would sleep on couches and he would sleep on the concrete here in the city. He would play in the subway, still plays in the subway to this day, just to make his dream come true. So I know you really, really enjoy this interview. I was on the verge of tears while I was conducting it. People that know me personally know that I'm not the smiling type of person, at least not when I'm in work mode. But I'm just I have a feeling of joy and that emanates inside of me just hearing your story, because hopefully when folks hear this podcast and other stories, they feel hope. They feel like good things can come out of the world. So that's the feeling that I get hearing your story, and I think we should transition into the work that you're doing now. Give us the sort of the 30-second commercial for Revolution of Hope and the Roxbury Youth Orchestra.
Revolution of Hope, Roxbury Youth Orchestra. Basically, we put classical music into the hands of inner city youth in a joy-filled, intensive, conservatory level way. So 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, string instruments, violin, viola, and cello, and we really invest in the lives of inner city youth for the purpose of not only their musical, artistic expression, but also their social development.
Beautiful. And if you could, tell us one story that's really impacted you, one student that you've had, and talk about their transformation. Just really bring it down to the ground level with their story.
Well, one of our students, his name is Kurt, and I met him in September. He's 18 years old. He's a senior in high school, and we go to his school, Madison Park Vocational High School, and he shows up and he says, I want to be in this program. And because the program, it's really intensive, and to learn a string instrument well takes a lot of time, I said to him, well, people that normally play string instruments, they usually start when they're 3 years old. Like, why do you want to be a part of this program? Like, why should I even accept you? Just kind of playing hard to get. And he looked at me and he said, my entire life I've wanted to become a professional musician, and this is my first opportunity to learn an instrument. And I was really moved by that, and on the first day he came early, and stayed late, and has been really working really hard to not only learn an instrument, but also be just a vital part of the community that we have there. And we had a concert in Kendall Square, and on the bus, I said to him, Kurt, you're going to tell your story to the people in Kendall Square. And he said, what's my story? And I said, you don't even know your own story. I said, this is your story. And so I kind of recounted how we met, and he was like, oh yeah, that is my story. And we practiced a little bit. He was a little nervous. He's like, I don't have a story. And when he got on stage, he really moved people just with that story of kind of have that first chance of getting a chance to really pursue his dream, and really kind of taking this opportunity by the horns and running with it. And so he plays really beautifully now, and he's always trying to impress me. He's like, hey, look what I learned over the weekend, and so it's been really remarkable to see someone take an opportunity and run with it, and really just really doing beautiful things.
Beautiful. Well, I really appreciate that story. When I do these interviews, this is the first in-person interview that we've ever had. It's usually via Skype, and I can get verklempt and emotionally overwhelmed,
with that barrier of the internets. But I had to keep it all in. But it's just so inspiring to hear about the transformation that you're able to facilitate with this wonderful program. Now, tell us about your vision for this program in the future, sort of in the short-term future, what you got coming up, and then what you see, 4 and 5 years from now.
Yeah, I really believe that when we take shortcuts in education, we shortchange our youth. And so my vision for this is really trying to see what is possible when we provide inner city youth with the best resources of education, with the best training, with the best teaching, and then a space to be creative. And so my vision for this is really to show what is possible when we invest in youth. And so I think the sky's the limit, and I envision an orchestra that tours locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally, and then an orchestral triad that includes Roxbury Youth Orchestra, the Dorchester Youth Orchestra, and the Mattapan Youth Orchestra. So these three overlooked cities with a strong youth orchestra system that's a community amongst itself, and it's just an inspiration to others to say, hey, even if I'm trained at this really high level of music or dance or accounting or whatever, I can bring that high level of training to students in the inner city and be really proud of it and also just marvel at the fruit of that kind of investment.
There's more to that interview. Yeah, more. And you can find all of it at purposerockstar.com. Link is right there. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. So it's really, really awesome that you can go to purposerockstar.com. If you're one of those on-the-go Apple people, you can check it out on iTunes. There's the link. And for my non-Apple people, I'm going to make sure there's a link on Stitcher somewhere next to me. So you got iTunes, Stitcher, and purposerockstar.com. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're on Twitter and Facebook, and somehow we'll be on LinkedIn. I don't know. But at least we'll be on Twitter and Facebook. And one final favor. Pursue your purpose. It needs you.
The instrument legacy drive, and we got 28 donated instruments from around the country. And then friends of mine that I had been talking to about teaching, I thought I would be fully funded by the start, and I had no money. And so I said, hey, we have no money. Are you still interested in joining me in this vision? 4 of them said yes.